Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading chapter 7, text number 2. Page number 323. Yanam te aham savigyam idam yakshami aseshataha yajgadva niha bhuyo ayaj Yadyam avishyate. Word for word. Yanam, phenomenal knowledge. Te, unto you. Aham, I. Sa, with. Vijnanam, luminous knowledge. Idam, this. Bhikshami, shall explain. Asheta, in full. Yat, which. Padva, knowing. Na, not. Iha, in this world. Viha, further. Anyat, anything more. Yadvam, noble. Avishate, remains. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. Thus, this being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Complete knowledge includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and the source of both of them. Is transcendental knowledge. The Lord wants to explain the above-mentioned system of knowledge because Arjuna is Krishna's confidential devotee and friend. In the beginning of the 4th chapter, this explanation was given by the Lord and is again confirmed here. Complete knowledge can be achieved only by the devotee of the Lord in disciplic succession directly. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all causes, and the only object of meditation and all types of yoga practice. When the cause of all causes becomes known, then everything knowable becomes known, and nothing remains unknowable. In the Vedas, Mundaka Upanishad 1.3, it says, Kasmin yu bhagavo vijayate sarvam idam vijayatam bhavati. Omar Yanantram Dasya Janasa Sakaya Sakshuli Midam Jena Tasme Shri Gurve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Akadamayam. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation once again. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So this is chapter 7, knowledge of the Absolute. And the Bhagavad-Gita contains 18 chapters. The first 6 deal with karma and jnana, and the last 6 deal with jnana, karma and jnana, mostly jnana. But the middle 6 deals with bhakti, or devotional service. But says in Nectar Devotion, Ata Shri Krishna Namani Namavid Griyam Injani Sevamukhi Jivado Swayameva Swarantyada. No one can understand Krishna as he is by blunt material senses, but he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him. So Bhagavad-Gita is there, and it's like a treasure chest, a treasure chest, or a treasure box. On the bottom you have karma and jnana, and on the top you have karma and jnana, but in the middle you have the treasure. So it's not so easy to understand how this chapters 7 through 12 are the treasure of Bhagavad-Gita. You know, it's not so easy even understand the whole Bhagavad-Gita. Even though people read the Bhagavad-Gita, they're without following any sadhana or don't have any qualification, but it still makes them devotees, because Krishna is speaking the Bhagavad-Gita. Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam. So is Krishna Katha. When Krishna and we like to come inside, which is the English Bhagavad Gita class. You speak English? Anyway, when Krishna and Balaram were 11 years old, they went to Mathura and got Brahman Diksha from Gargacharya. Then they went to Ujjain and took Shiksha from Sandapani Muni. And at the end, when they finished their studies, they said, their teacher said to them, you have to give us Krishna Balaram said, what should we give you for Guru Dakshin? Because when you take initiation, you're supposed to give something to the spiritual master as a sign of gratitude for his instructions and for giving you Shiksha or Diksha. So Sanapani Muni said, yes, my son was taken by the ocean. Can you bring back my dead son? Of course, Sanapani Muni, he knew that Krishna Balaram were not ordinary persons, They were the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and only they could do that. So Krishna and Balaram agreed. They went to the ocean, and they asked the ocean, you took the son of our teacher, away at one time. Can you bring him back? But the ocean replied, I didn't take him. It was taken by a demon in the form of a conch shell. So Krishna dove down into the water and found the demon in the conch shell, killed him, and took his conch shell, but he didn't find the son. Then he came back to Balaram, and they went to Yamaraj, with the planet of Yamaraj, which is near the earth, and they requested Yamaraj to give him back the son of their spiritual master. So they brought him back. And then when they brought him back, Sandipani Muni was pleased, and he gave Krishna the benediction that whatever he speaks will always be transcendentally nectar and pleasing to everyone and never get old or stale. Of course, Krishna doesn't need any this kind of benedictions, but the point is that the Bhagavad-Gita was spoken 5,000 years ago, and it's still, at least in our movement, it's our main scripture, and we're distributing it. Especially next month is the Christmas marathon. Of course, there is no Christmas in India, but in America, in the 70s, when Prabhupada was still on the planet, Prabhupada was pushing the devotees to distribute his books. So devotees understood that at Christmas time, it was different than the rest of the year. Because at Christmas time, people go to the stores and buy. They didn't have the Amazon in those days. They didn't have internet where you could buy everything online. They didn't have computers. So people would rush to the stores and spend all their money on useless things for their relatives and friends and loved ones. And in this way, the stores would stay open. They usually close at 9 o'clock. They would stay open until midnight, and a million people would be rushing to the stores to buy so many things for Christmas, which is December 25th. So in this way, the devotees decided to have a marathon at this time, because that was when people had a lot of money and were shopping. So we used to go to the shopping malls and the stores and distribute books, but at that time it was the most amount of people there, and we could stay out late and distribute a lot of books. So this is the beginning of the Christmas marathon. And at that month, a lot of books were distributed. So in India, we just call it Prabhupada Marathon. There's no Christmas, but still India is the #1 country in distributing books in the marathon. And the main book is the Bhagavad-Gita. So Delhi Temple, they distributed 4 lakhs Bhagavad-Gita last year. Punjabi Bagh, Juhu, all the major temples, Mayapur, they all distribute huge amounts of books for the Sankirtan Marathon. So the reason we distributed the Bhagavad Gita to people who are not performing devotional service, who have no sadhana, who have no qualification to understand the Bhagavad Gita. But since Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, it's Krishna Katha, it's not different than Krishna. So if they get the Bhagavad Gita, they touch it, read one word, they're benefited. They get some punya, pious credits. And if anybody gets a book in America or different places, they get a hardbound book, they give some donation, they don't throw it away. So they may get a book, someone may get a book and not want to say, I don't want to read it. One man in Delhi his son-in-law got a book, Bhagavad-Gita, from someone, but he said, I don't want to read it, so he gave it to his father-in-law. And his father-in-law read the Bhagavad-Gita and became a devotee, and now he's an initiated devotee, chanting 16 rounds, 32 rounds every day, and following the 4 regular principles. So this is the effect of book distribution. It's like a time bomb. When the terrorists come, they plant their bombs somewhere, and then they put on a timer so it goes off at a certain time. So the books, Srila Prabhupada books, are like time bombs. They may not activate, they may not have effect immediately. It may, for some cases it may be immediately. Some cases the person puts the book on his shelf and doesn't look at it for 20 years. And then he starts having some problems and difficulties, and he sees the book and he starts to read it. One man in South India, he was very miserly, very cruel, angry. He used to drink a lot. He owned a meat restaurant, did everything, sinful activities. So his father told him that you read one scripture in Marathi language. This was at the time when his father was dying. He told him to read some scripture. So the man went to find that scripture, and he tried to read it, but he couldn't understand it. But at the same time, the Bhagavad-Gita was there in his house. So instead of reading the Marathi scripture, he read the Bhagavad-Gita. And by reading the Bhagavad-Gita, he gave up his meat restaurant, he gave up his intoxication, he gave up everything and became a devotee. And not only he became a devotee, his whole family became devotees. So this is the benefit, how Krishna's words, Krishna's name, form, pastime, everything about Krishna is absolute. And those who are have some pious credits from previous life or get some mercy in this life can read the Bhagavad Gita and become devotees. And that's the whole purpose of this Krishna consciousness movement, is to bring about a revolution in this misguided civilization. Prabhupada calls it a foolish, childish, misguided civilization, where they think that there's nothing wrong with meat eating, there's nothing wrong with abortion, nothing wrong with prostitution, nothing wrong with homosexuality. They think there's nothing wrong with any of these things. They're all legal. Taking drugs, everything has become legalized when it wasn't legal in the 70s. So as the age of Kali Yuga becomes more and more degraded very quickly, after 5,000 years, it's becoming more and more degraded very quickly. So the only hope for the people in this modern civilization is the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years ago to spread this Sankirtan movement. Harinam, 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 Evikevalo, Kaluvina Stevana, Stevana, Steva, Gatiranyata. So the chanting the holy name is the best process in this age. In the last chapter, Bhagavad Gita, it said, Yoginam api sarvesham matkatena atmana Sharavam bhajate yomam same yukta mano mataha. Of all yogis, the one with great faith always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, renders strengthful service unto me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So we have the first 7 verses of this chapter, which are dealing with knowledge of Krishna, knowing Krishna by hearing about him. So the text number 1 says, "Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and those who achieve perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, altogether, these 8 comprise my separated material energies. Besides these, O Maryam Arjun, there is another superior energy of mine, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting resources of material nature, material inferior nature. All created beings have their source in these 2 natures. Of all of the material and all of the spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. O conqueror well, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests on me as a pearl strung on a thread. Pata parantarap najan kinchirasti dhananjaya mayi sarvam idam proktam sutre mayi gana eva. Everything rests upon me as a pearl. Pearls are strung on a thread. So when you have a string of pearls, they're strung very tightly together. You can't see the thread, but the thread is what is holding it all together. In the same way, Krishna is holding everything together. So in this verse, it may be a little hard to understand. First it says, it's phenomenal. Phenomenal knowledge, which means remarkable, which is a material energy. And numinous means great in number, or the spiritual energy. So this is the knowledge, transcendental knowledge that's being spoken about here. And the definition is given here of knowledge. Complete knowledge includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and the source of both of them. In other words, to know the difference between matter and spirit and the controller of both. This is real knowledge. Even you may go to so many universities, they're teaching so many things, they think they're giving people knowledge, but probably call them slaughterhouses. Universities are slaughterhouses because they don't teach people anything about the soul or spiritual knowledge, only about technology. So everyone thinks they have to go to college to get them technical training so they can get a good job to make a lot of money. But they don't know anything about spiritual knowledge or about the soul. So people are going to the slaughterhouse of the universities because it doesn't get them out of it keeps them bound up in the material world, because they don't teach people that we're a spirit soul, Jivaya Sruboy Nitya Krishna Das, and we're not supposed to be in this material world. Krishna, there's 2 realms. There's the spiritual realm, which is divided into 3 parts: the Brahman effulgence, the Vaikuntha planets, and the Golok Vrindavan. And then there's the material world, which is separate. 1/4 of the creation is the material world, and 3/4 of creation is the spiritual world. So, the majority of the souls are in the spiritual world, either in the Brahmayoti, in the Vaikuntha, or the Golok. But those souls that somehow or other, due to misuse of our independence, we had decided that we don't want to serve Krishna, we don't want to love Krishna, we want to be Krishna or be like Krishna. So we come in the material world, and we stay in the material world bound up by the material energy. Durga Devi, she's the charge of the material energy. Durga means fort. So the whole material world is like a prison house. So everyone is in the prison house. They go to school, universities. They don't teach people how to get out of the prison house. They don't teach people how to get an education, get a job, to make money to stay in the prison house. So what's the value of that? Everyone comes in this material world with nothing. We stay for some time, at the most 100 years, and at the time of death, you can't take anything with you. The fallible soldiers, which are the friends and relatives, can't save you at the time of death. Your bank balance can't save you at the time of death. Nothing can save you, the soul from dying. And Bhagavad-Gita says, once you take Nahanyate Anyamane Shrire, once you take birth, you're sure to die, and when you're sure to die, you're sure to take birth again. So the soul is going from one body to the next. It's a subtle transformation, like the aroma carried in the air. And one gets a gross body, he gets a certain type of eye, ear, nose, tongue, sense of touch, which are grouped out the mind, and enjoys this particular set of sense objects. So if you read the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the last chapter describes the hellish planets. And for every activity that's sinful, a person has to go to a certain hellish planet and suffer in a subtle body, suffer for so much time, and get trained up, so their next body, whatever the next body will be, will have the senses to enjoy in that way. Like the hog gets a hog body, you can give the hog a choice to take some halva or take some stool. They'd rather eat stool, because that's their senses are meant for that. But a human being, we like to do the halva, especially at the Sunday feast. All over the world, we have a Sunday feast, and they used to have hot halva and cold sweet rice, and that was a crowd pleaser. So people would come back again and again to get the hot halva and the cold sweet rice, because it was nectar. There's nothing more enjoyable in this world, the Sunday feast, and so they attracted a lot of people to our movement. So in this way, this is transcendental knowledge. There's no difference between matter and spirit, and the control of both. But Krishna says, Bhakti Mama Vijananti, I can only be understood by devotional service. So Arjuna, he's speaking to Arjuna because Arjuna is his friend and his devotee. Of course, Arjuna was a Nityasiddha, eternal associate of the Lord, but he's put into this position of confusion. At the time, the battle of Kurukshetra was just about to begin, and Arjuna is confused. He doesn't want to fight against his relatives, teachers, friends, and so many people on the opposite side, which is normal. But so Arjuna asked Krishna to draw his chariot in the middle so he could see who his opponent was. And at that time, Krishna spoke the Bhagavad-Gita in less than 1 hour, 700 verses. Let's see, Yogamaya potency, he could do that. In Gita Jayanti, we read the Bhagavad-Gita, all the verses. It takes almost 3 hours. But Krishna spoke it very quickly because the soldiers on both sides were very anxious to get on with the war. So Krishna spoke the whole Bhagavad Gita very quickly and convinced Arjuna that it was his duty to fight. That Arjuna gave so many counter arguments about why he shouldn't fight, but Krishna defeated all his arguments and convinced him without a doubt that he should fight, and that would be devotional service, because Krishna wanted the battle of Kurukshetra to relieve the burden of the earth, of so many demoniac people. So there were 640 million people on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, and then the war began. So here it says that this knowledge has to be received through the parampara system. There are 4 bona fide paramparas, one coming from Lakshmi, one coming from the 4 Kumaras, one coming from Lord Brahma, and one coming from Lord Shiva. These are the parampara. Evam parampara paptam imam rajaso vidu. Krishna says that this Bhagavad Gita was spoken and in the parampara system. So the 4 bona fide paramparas, and they differ a little bit in their philosophies and their customs. So they wear different kinds of tilak, Sri Sampradaya, and other Sampradayas, and they chant different mantras, but they all agree that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, unless you're initiated with one of the bona fide Sampradayas, then your mantra will not have any effect. Other people who claim to be gurus and spiritual masters, but are not connected to any Sampradaya, they can't give anyone any benefit, can't take anyone back to Godhead, can't purify anyone. There's only cheating the masses of people, giving them Kaitava Dharma, cheating religions, which don't change people's lives, don't tell people they have to follow the 4 regular principles: no eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. So they go on with their sinful life and think they're following some spiritual practice at the same time. But it's like trying to cross a river with two boats, with 1 foot in one boat, 1 foot in another boat. You don't get very far. So this is what's going on in the world today. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam. So Krishna is the cause of all causes, and if you know Krishna, you know everything. So one reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, if the spiritual master knows everything, how many windows in the Empire State Building? The Empire State Building is about 100-story, huge skyscraper building. So Prabhupada answered. The devotees were wondering, what's Prabhupada going to say? It seems to be a stumper question that no one can answer. Prabhupada said, well, how many drops of water in a mirage? In other words, why are you asking me a stupid question? This spiritual master knows everything, means he knows everything in relation to Krishna. He may not know these details. He's not going to go to the Empire State Building and count how many windows are in the Empire State Building, but he knows that Krishna is the source of everything. And here it says, when you know that, then you know everything. When Krishna becomes known, then you know everything, because Krishna is the source of everything. It says in the Brahma Samhita, it says, that Krishna is Sarvakara Karanam. He's the cause of all causes. And at the end of Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says, Sarvadharma Prikshaja, Mamekam Saranamaja, Ham Tvam Sarvapamayo, Moksha Shami Masama, Masucha, just surrender unto me. So knowing Krishna, even Lord Brahma has 4 heads. He's the most intelligent human being in this universe. But yet he admits that if people say they know Krishna, I don't want to hear it. Because as far as I'm concerned, I cannot know everything about Krishna. And Seshanag is the 1,000-headed serpent that's holding all the universes on its heads, and he's glorifying Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu. But as he also says that he can never come to the end of describing the name, fame, qualities of Krishna. So these are the main points in this verse. That Krishna, knowing Krishna and hearing, and by hearing about him in full, one can know Krishna. So the 9 processes of devotional service are there. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. In Shravanam, Kirtanam, Shravanam is hearing. So this is the most important of our 9 processes of devotional service. When Lord Chaitanya was traveling in South India, he met the Tapavadis, who were the Madhvacharya sect, and he asked them what was the process for attaining perfection. And they said, they were a little proud, they said by following Varnashram Dharma, one can attain perfection. But Lord Chaitanya defeated that statement. Even Ramananda Roy was asked the same question. He also said Varnashram Dharma was the process. But Lord Chaitanya rejected that and said it was external. Because Varnashram Dharma in itself is a material process to organize society in a very nice way, but without devotional service, it's a useless waste of time. If one does his duty in the Varnashram system perfectly, if he doesn't perform devotional service, Shravanam hi eva kevalam is simply a waste of time. So the Lord Chaitanya told the Tapavadis that the real way to attain perfection in this life is by following the 9 principles of devotional service, beginning with Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, or hearing. So that's why we have this Srimad Bhagavatam class in the morning and Bhagavad-Gita class in the evening. We chant 16 rounds of the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So all these involve our sense of hearing. At the time of death, all the senses become inert except for the ears. Even if someone's in a coma, he cannot see or taste or smell, but he can still hear. So if someone's fortunate enough at the time of death, when he's in a coma, if there's kirtan is going on, he can hear the kirtan and think of Krishna at the time of death. So when the cause of all causes become known, and everything knowable becomes known, nothing remains unknowable. So we should have no doubt. It says in the 15th chapter, the one knows is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without doubting, he performs pure devotional service. So the whole Bhagavad-Gita is meant to teach people that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is tu Bhagavan Sayam, that there's no one equal to or greater than Krishna. God is one. whether you call him Jehovah or whatever name you want to give him. He has hundreds and thousands of names, but he's not a different person. Like the sun is in America, the sun is in India, the sun is in China, the sun is in Russia, but it's not an American sun, a Chinese sun, it's not a Russian sun. The sun is the sun. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, applies to all people, all purpose, all over the world, for all times. The Bhagavad-Gita is the scripture for all people, for all the time, and then Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God for all people, for all times. So people don't know it about Krishna, but they can learn about Krishna if they are fortunate enough to associate with devotees, read Srila Prabhupada's books, and this way they'll yam yam vapi smaram babam. Krishna says, whatever you're thinking at the time of death, that you will attain without a doubt. So the whole purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement is to train people for the final lesson. The final lesson is like the final exam. You go to school, you take some, you major in some course, and then take the final exam. If you pass the final exam, you get your degree. So the final exam in life is at the time of death, whether you're going to think of Krishna or not. Because the time of death is very troublesome. The mind goes into a spin and can think of so many things. King Kurukshetra said that the swan of his mind, let me die now when the swan of my mind is in a healthy condition, so I'll be able to think of the lotus feet of Krishna. That was one of Prabhupada's favorite slokas and songs. And so, we never know when death is going to come. Maharaj Parikshit got 7 days notice, but we don't have notice, so we never know when death will come, so we have to practice the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and practice devotional service very seriously, so at the time of death, even if you can't think of Krishna, Krishna will think of you from within the core of your heart. So, in the last chapter it said, Arjuna wanted to know if someone's unsuccessful, what will happen? And Krishna said that he'll go to the heavenly planets and then take birth in the earthly planet in a situation where he can continue his devotional service. So somehow or other, they're not the loser by becoming a devotee of Krishna. In the material world, everyone, even if people have the most money in the world, if they get sick, they get a fever, they can't eat anything, even though they have an opulent feast in front of them. So the whole material world is meant to keep everyone bound up in the material world, but the Krishna consciousness movement is meant to take everyone back to God, back to Krishna, get us out of the material world. So we should not forget that. People in any walk of life should understand there's nothing else in this world of any importance but becoming Krishna conscious. Not that we should neglect our responsibility if you're in a householder life, but you should know that Krishna consciousness should be the priority. And so in this way, we should follow the process of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti until we're free from all material contamination. And then we come to the stage of anartha vritti, and then the devotional service begins. And then there's nistha, we become steady, then ruchi, we get a taste, a shakti, then we get attachment, then bhava comes. All these things are there, but one must be free from material contamination, or free from the modes of material nature, especially passion and ignorance, and come to the level of Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness. And then we can develop our love for Krishna. There's only one price to pay to get love of Krishna, and that is greed. People in the material world are very greedy, and so they steal, rob, they do so many things to get money. That greed doesn't benefit them, they just have to go to jail. But if you're greedy for Krishna, that will come at the stage of a sakti, or rati, when you have a taste for devotional service, to become greedy for Krishna and really have no other interest or no desire than to serve Krishna and be Krishna's devotee, be Krishna conscious. So this is the summary of all Prabhupada's books, that we should surrender to Krishna and be a devotee of Krishna and have no other interest. This is a surrendered soul. Full surrender means to do everything favorable, reject everything unfavorable, to know that Krishna is the proprietor, know that Krishna is the maintainer, and expect everything, see everything as Krishna's mercy, and feel oneself meek and humble. Tanadapi suniche na tarapi sisana amaniman mandena kirtan salari. This is one of these 8 prayers that Lord Chaitanya left. The only thing that he actually gave us in writing was these 8 prayers, Shastakshaka prayers. And in those prayers, it contains Sambandhan, Abhideya, and Parojana, or how to develop our relationship with Krishna, how to serve Krishna, and how to attain the highest stage of love of Krishna, which was exhibited by Radharani. She said, my dear Lord, you may embrace me or make me broken-hearted by not being present before me, but you're always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande.